What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk about two simple tips that helped me improve my animation, and I'm sure it'll help you. Now, these tips aren't necessarily for, the noobs out there who are just picking up Maya or Blender, their application of choice, and are like, okay, what do I do? And these are two tips that helped me. Now, the first tip, you're gonna hate me. It just is what it is. I know it's a very simple tip. I know you're like, Lucas, this isn't a tip. I already know this. But I'm gonna say it anyway, because I think it's extremely important. The first tip is know what you're bad at. Now, I know knee-jerk reaction is, what is this? What do you mean know what I'm bad at? Here's the thing, as an animator, okay, in my time being an animator for quite some time, all right, there are certain things that I know that I'm just not good at, bro. There were certain things that I knew that, hey, my spacing, after doing shot after shot after shot, I would have hard times just working out my spacing. My timing, right, getting the blocking and getting the timing and everything, that was great. But my spacing, when I took this bad boy out to spline, I wanted to jump out of the building. I just go into, the lunchroom, right, and just, okay, you got this, right? You grab a bunch of snacks and then you go back to your desk and you're like, okay, let's figure this out. That would be me. And I knew my spacing was off. So what I had to do was first off, be honest. I think there are a lot of animators who lie to themselves, and that's gonna harm you. If you think your stuff is better than what it actually is, that's just gonna harm you. And there's two ways of really figuring that out. Either you're self-aware and you can tell, hey, this is a sticking point that I'm having every single time when I animate something. I get an idea, I storyboard it out, I block it out, and then it falls apart. But then the issue is not that it falls apart. Like, I can get from pose A to pose B, right? But the thing is the spacing. I don't know, like the spacing is off and it just becomes convoluted. You've got to be honest with what your sticking point is. If it's not spacing, then fine. Maybe it's posing for you. Maybe you just can't get a good silhouette, bro. I just can't do it. It's a sticking point for me. My poses are just trash. My timing and spacing are good. It's just the poses aren't strong enough. I get you. So self-aware, or you get someone who tells you, right? You get a mentor, or you shoot me an email or something, and you get someone who's gonna tell you, hey, this seems to be a sticking point. Now, they won't be able to tell you, right off the bat, off of one shot, but what is gonna happen is that they're gonna start to notice a pattern. If you haven't noticed it already, they're gonna start to notice a pattern in your work that, it seems that you've had a problem, posing with the last shot. It seems that you still have this problem with this shot. Or it seems that you have a problem with timing. It seems that you're having an issue with timing this out. Or it seems that you have an issue with accents, right? Or it seems that you have an issue with squash and stretch. Whatever your issue is, that's what, a professional, like a senior animator, will be able to spot out. And they will be able to spot out, trust me, I know, because I've done stuff on certain shots. I was like, this mofo really, like you'll get a note and like, this is a bullcrap note, right? He's not gonna really notice whether or not I, change the pose of this hand on this frame or something like that. And sure enough, they'll be like, it seems like you didn't change the spacing on the run and this and that. It's like, did you read my notes? Did you get that note? It's like, oh no, I missed that. Yeah, no, my fault. I'll get right back onto it. So they know their things. They know their stuff, okay? They know their stuff. That's why they're in that position. Because some cases, it may not be what you think it is. Now, I won't go into technical aspects because every program is different, especially depending on what tools you may use at your disposal, right? Tools in Blender are gonna be maybe a different workflow than tools in Maya or tools in Cinema 4D. But you have to understand where your sticking point lies. I think that's what it is. I think whether in some cases it could be workflow, right? You think that your animation, you're just not a good animator, and that's not your sticking point. Your sticking point is not that you're not a good animator. Your sticking point is that you lack order. You lack a workflow that works for how your mind, plans out the shot. Some people think completely different. There are some animators I knew that could do a whole shot in straight ahead. Kudos to you. I don't know how you plan out as far as he's gonna jump to here, I'm gonna hold this frame for this amount, I'm gonna speed up to here. I don't know how they do that, bro. If that's how you work it, by all means. There are some people who just do it in spline, right? They don't block it, they don't do stepped. There are some people who go linear. There's a litany of methods. So in some cases, it may not be you being a bad animator, it just may be you need to find a process that works for you, that helps you expedite what's in your mind into the computer. The second tip that I would give is cheat. That's correct. cheat like a mofo. What's the saying? Great artists, good art is something, I forgot the saying, but you know the saying, something great artists cheat or they steal or something like that. Do that. Absolutely. Some of the best knowledge that I've gotten is from what I would advise you to do is take a shot from your favorite movie and duplicate it. That's correct. Just replicate the shot with whatever rig that you want. There's tons of rigs out there. Obviously, if you're doing an acting shot or a close-up shot, you would want obviously have a rig that has good facial features, facial controls and stuff like that. And if you're doing a body mechanic shot, obviously every rig can handle basic body mechanic shot with stretch and FK and all that. But I would advise you to just copy it frame by frame. One of my favorite movies is The Bad Guys. There are some great shots. There are some really great scenes of how it's animated and everything. I love that. And I would just take that scene in the prison, and I wouldn't do the whole scene, but I would just copy it, bruh. I would take a rig. Okay, let's see how he transitioned or he or she transitioned from this pose to this pose. Oh, they held that. Okay, so they held that frame while the guy, did a slow moving hold. Really, he didn't really move that much, and it's not really in an arc. Okay, then they switched to that. Okay, then they did a blur on that one. Now that obviously Bad Guys is heavily stylized, or you can do something, How to Train Your Dragon or something like that. There are tons of movies out there, and you can just frame through them. Listen, all the secret sauce is right there. This is like no other profession, to be honest with you. There's really no other profession. Like, you can go to a house and be like, I can see how they maybe figured it out and what they did here and everything. But in some cases, you're gonna have to take apart and see what's going on underneath. Animation is something that you can see right in front of you, the finalized work, that what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. Obviously, when it comes to more technical side or visual effects, but as for the most part, those are frames on a screen. That's what makes the animation. And those frames can be duplicated. You can replicate all of those frames. That eye twitch, that pop up, that Disney take and everything, you can replicate that. You can do that with the computer. You can do that 100%. So if you like something and how it looks, I would argue that you look into why do you like it? What about it do you like it? Do you like the timing? Is it more of a character design type of thing? Is it acting that you like there? Do you like, the dialogue and how it's animated? Figure out what you like about it and then duplicate it with your rig. And I'm telling you, you'll learn a whole bunch of tips and tricks, and you'll start to see certain patterns. When it comes to the spacing, when it comes to the timing, I was like, oh, okay, they did timing where it was like, bam, bam, bam for that. But then the leg, right, the timing chart was very different for the leg. And you'll be able to break it down and consolidate it into something that you can understand, that you can apply on other shots. Listen, there's only so many timings and spacings for a punch in the face, right? There's only so many timings and spacings for an impact movement, whether it's a kick, a punch, a knee, a hit, a fall, right? They're gonna share certain timings. They're gonna share certain, similar spacings, and no matter what it is, because you're not you're not reinventing the wheel, okay? Understand that physics, a lot of this is based in physics. Even with cartooning, it's physics. That, there may be subtle alterations to the fat guy falling, or the skinny guy falling, or the medium guy falling, or the person with the carrying something falling. But at the end of the day, you're gonna get an ease in and an ease out, or you're gonna get an ease out to a flat, and it's gonna, increase as it hits the ground, just like a bouncing ball. That's how that's gonna work. Now, once you start getting more advanced, that's where the fun part comes in. That's where it's like, okay, how do we mix this up? How do we make this fall more entertaining? What happens if the butt falls in the leg? What happens if he drops this, right? Then we start getting into acting, then we start getting into phrasing of the action. But like I said, if your issue, depending on what your issue is, I would say copy an animation that you like or you think that they do what you would want to do, right? Get an animator that you are inspired by, copy their work. Obviously, don't put it on your demo reel, but use this as a learning experience. So that's going to be the end of the video. Those are the two things that have definitely helped me improve over time, is being self-aware, right? Being understanding what my strengths and what my weaknesses are, and how do I improve, right? How do I go about that? And if you have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are before you figure out a game plan to, progress forward. And the second one is cheat, bruh. Cheat. You see somebody do a punch, you like it? Cool. You see somebody do an acting shot, you're like, yo, why do I like this acting shot? This emotion that they've inspired from me or they've gotten from me to really feel for the character. How did that happen? Is it the framing? Is it the composition? Like, let me see as far as, how much movement this character is doing versus that movement that that character is doing. How are they keeping it alive? Ask those questions, right? And figure that out before trying to replicate and imitate that shot. Because that's how you're gonna learn. And you're gonna learn from a professional. You're gonna learn from a professional without even having to pay them. Because you just see their shot and you just duplicate it. It's like, okay, they did the timing here, the spacing here, the acting poses here, that's a clear silhouette. Use that. Cheat, bruh. Cheat as much as you possibly can. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, keep animating.